Yeah, it's been a little while since I've put a video up here on YouTube. And the reason for that is that I've been building what you see on screen here, um, which is an estimation software. Um, yeah, so yeah, for about the last year and a half, I've been working on this. And so I haven't had much time for making videos. And in fact, my environment has changed quite a bit. When I was making videos before, I was working in the field, I was in the trenches, um, just out there getting work done. And since then, we have started an estimation department where I work, and I run that department. And it's a department that doesn't just do electrical. This channel is an electrical channel, right? But what I do now is involved in more than just electrical. We produce estimates for mechanical, HVAC, refrigeration, plumbing, and electrical, of course. Um, and so I needed a solution that could handle all of that in one product. Whereas what I was seeing out there was estimation solutions that are sort of like custom built for each trade. Plumbing, each one had their own trade, and I didn't want to have five different products just to manage our estimation department. So needed something that was a bit more flexible, that wasn't as restrictive as maybe some of the other as some of the other products are out there. Um, so built this, and this is available to all of you as well. You can visit the site and I'll put a link down in the description. Um, but you can go to unitybuildestimation.com. It's all one long word, and check out the website there and sign up for a monthly subscription and just get started. Um, yeah, so I'll just give you guys a tour of the product here, and if you like it, if it seems interesting to you, reach out to me if you'd like, or just go right to the website and sign up and get going. So we'll go back to the home screen here. So when you first log in to the product, you'll be presented with this screen. This is my development environment, so you can see I've got a lot of oddly named projects here, but this is basically your project screen, right? So you can create as many projects as you want. And so what a project in this software is the container for the estimates. So you create a project, it's work site, the moon, this one. So we're going to go to the moon here and we're going to build some stuff. Once you go into the project, again, you have a button here, you can create estimates. You can create as many estimates as you want. I have one here that's electrical. But like I said, we also do like HVAC. And so I could create an estimate for HVAC, and we break up everything by master format division number. So I have all of them available in here. All the master formats are in here. So we can pick heating, ventilation, air conditioning, give it a description, an ID, due date, some basic stuff, hit create estimate. And now we can create an HVAC estimate. And so now we can have multiple trades in one product, all doing their estimates together. And they'll all reference the same set of drawings too, which I think is pretty neat. Um, so we'll jump into the electrical estimate real quick, and I'm presented with this screen here. So what we're at here is this is an on-screen takeoff solution. So we're going to just take a look at our drawings, which I've already uploaded. But you can get documents off of your computer. Anything that's on your computer, that's a PDF. We will probably support more formats in the future, but currently we're just asking for PDFs. You can load your documents by hitting this document button, going to upload. This will take you to your file system, and then you can upload files. You can manage files here. You can rename them and all that kind of stuff, delete them if you didn't actually mean to add them to your project, and all that. One really cool thing about documents with this program is we have artificial intelligence built directly into it. I don't know, maybe you've heard of it. It's kind of the buzz, right? So this was another thing. I really wanted to have an estimating solution that was staying on the cutting edge of technology. And I figured the best way that I could make sure that I have access to that is by building it myself. So, we have a chatbot. So we have this little guy, this little robot guy. You'll see him a lot. He's sort of my little icon, my little buddy. So we'll click on him and we'll let him load in real quick. Um, Yeah, there we go. So I'm a helpful assistant. Ask me anything. I can tell you about your project documents. It can search the web for you as well. But here I can ask about project documents, and maybe I'll just ask for a quick summary. Can you give me a quick summary of this project? High level overview. Now it's AI. AI kind of does what it wants sometimes, but it's useful. It's got value. So here it's thinking, loading up right now. Sometimes the server that it runs on is cold if we're not getting a lot of requests. This won't be the case once I start getting more users. The server will stay warmed up. Um, so it's like we don't have a specific project overview document. However, there are several excerpts related to project details and scope work mainly focused on electrical and construction specifications. Okay, so yeah, just maybe tell me what are the general fire protection notes? give me some excerpts, I don't know if that's a word, from the general fire protection notes. This isn't really like the main thing that AI in your software is useful for. In fact, I don't know how to spell excerpts. There we go. Just to show that it has context awareness of the drawings. Renovated areas shall be 100% sprinkled. That just happens to be the top line here, number one, right? So there's that built into it. We can also do web search right within the tool. So we can enable web search, which it'll do web search if you ask it to, but we have some buttons here that'll give it a little extra nudge. One thing I like to ask is for like wire prices, things that fluctuate a lot or something. So I might say, what's the current price of number 12 THHN copper? And it should be searching the web. It should come back with some prices and some links. Yep. So Home Depot offers south wire by the foot, 12 brown solid, 72 cents a foot. So I can click on that and see if it brings me. Yeah, we'll allow it this time. This is actually showing 86 cents a foot. The nice thing is that it gives you the link so you can go and check it out yourself. It gives you the link so that you can verify the information. Um, then you get 72 cents per foot is kind of a lot for 12 gauge wire, I think. I wouldn't use that number. 21 cents sounds a bit more accurate. But it did the research, it went, found the websites, and returned some results. So there's some value there. Yeah, so that's something that's in here. Okay, but that's really not what you're here for. That's, you're doing an estimate, you're not going to be chatting with AI the whole time. That's just, the AI is cool. It's a neat new tool, but it is kind of the thing that helps you think through things. That's how I use AI, is to help me think through things, get to the end result. Again, we do all trades, and so I'm responsible for doing HVAC estimates, but I am not an HVAC technician. So I may have a lot of questions about HVAC, and now I can just come over to the bot here and ask it to like explain to me. I'm going to say this wrong, what water gauge is in relation to HVAC work. You don't even have to fix your bad grammar, like the AI just sort of knows. And it'll tell me a water gauge refers to a measurement of pressure, specifically it's a unit of pressure commonly used to describe the airflow. Okay, so you get the point. So it can help you understand what you don't currently understand really quickly. And it's directly in the tool here. So this is an estimation software. We need to count things in order to come up with a price, right? So the way this project is really oriented towards, or the design pattern of this, is all built around assemblies. And so what is an assembly? So if I look over to the right, I have, this is what I call the takeoff palette. We have an audit trail where we haven't counted anything yet. And I have an assemblies button, and I have a breakouts button. And the breakout is just a way to delineate your takeoff. As you count things, you can give it a breakout, and that'll help you keep your bid organized. So there's two ways I can build assemblies. I can edit this assembly that I've already built. So I can just click this edit assembly button. And then what we'll get here is the items and assembly interface. So in this program, you're going to be building a lot of assemblies and items. In order to build an assembly, first you need items to put inside the assembly, right? So I have an item folder, and here I just have this one item that I've created so far. And if I hit edit, then we can see some of the properties that this item has. Its name is THHN copper solid, and it has a set of attributes. These attributes can be reused for other items. So like for instance, I have THHN copper stranded here, but maybe I know I'm going to need solid. So what I can do is go ahead and um, select this folder. So I'll exit edit mode. I'll change it to item mode, select my folder, and I'll go ahead and I will create a new item. So we'll say THHN copper solid. And our unit of measurement is going to be per thousand. That's typical for wire. And the attribute group is going to be building wire. And see, I can use these attributes. These are the same attributes. So if I hit select all and I hit save, then just like that, I have 3 new items using the same attributes from the solid. So we'll get into a lot of detail here, but this is a very powerful tool to help you build items extremely fast. And you can build hundreds of items in a matter of an hour if you have planned out your attributes a little bit and you know what direction you're going to head. And so then now that I have items, I can give them things like costs. So we looked up number 12, and I think I saw like 24 cents a foot. So I'll just put that in, 24 cents a foot. And I think these typically, all of these kind of, the production rate's about 21 hours per thousand. Um, but you can have your own production rate. This is sort of a value that I've used for many, many years. But you can have your own production rates. All right. So we won't get into this too much more. But now that I have items, I also have assemblies. And so exit item mode, and I'll go ahead and just hit edit assembly. And here we have an assembly that I'm calling 3 number 12 T210 copper. Now, normally an assembly, like if this were a real assembly, I'd have conduit, I'd have fittings, I have boxes, I have all kinds of things. But this is an assembly of one. But let's go ahead and add some number 10 solid as well. And we'll say that also we want 3.03 per length. And this is just a way of saying that I want 3 of these for every foot of measurement that I assign it. This will be clear in a moment. So I'll hit save, close. Okay, so now we have this assembly here. It's called 3 number 12 copper, but actually I should have named it 3 number 12 copper and 3 number 10 copper wire, something like that. All right, I'd be more thoughtful if this were a real assembly. Hit save. Okay, so now this is saved and we have this assembly. So, let's just pretend that this is something I would actually count to do an estimate. And one of the first things I might want to do is set the scale. Now, this drawing doesn't actually have a scale. I'm just going to make one up. We'll say 16th inch equals a foot. I can check that real quick to see. Nope. Okay, so it's going to be half of that. 1/8 inch is, if I think I did that right. Yeah. Okay, so that's actually about right. 1/8 inch of a foot, even though this says not to scale. And let's count some wire between these light fixtures. I actually like the crosshair personally. And so what I'm going to do that is I'm just going to click it, and you can see in the top right it says current takeoff. So now I'm currently counting something, and I'll go ahead and actually I like snap mode on so that I can see how it snaps. Pretty fancy. Um, and I'll go ahead and I'll just pretend like I'm counting between these fixtures. Okay, go to this one. Okay, that's good. So I'll right click, hit complete run, and that finishes the run. And now if I change to audit trail, we can see that I have some measurements. I have a count of 10 and I have 65 feet. And if I expand this, I can see that I have 197 feet of number 12 copper stranded and 197 feet of number 10 copper stranded, right? So yeah, and so what we've done here is we've quickly counted a bunch of items that were part of our assembly. And I can always go back to the assembly if I want to change something. Maybe I want to make this 6.06. I add the 0.06 just for 10% of waste, oops, per conductor. Hit save. And now you can see immediately this updated. Now I have 393 feet of number 12 and 10 feet of number 10. So that's pretty powerful, right? We can build assemblies with all of the stuff we need in it, and we can draw a line or whatever, and boom, we have it. And there's a lot of control, here, we can, maybe we know I'm going to count this again down here, so I can make a selection, hit copy extend, and then come over here and then save at that position. I'll do it again, save at that position, do it again, save at that position. And now you can see we can quickly count a whole bunch of stuff. Now I missed these 3 in here, so let me go right click, go insert point. We'll go ahead and grab one there, insert a point at each one. The reason I'm inserting points here is maybe I know that I want to add a riser at each one of these, and then I'll be able to do that. Let me clean this up. Maybe I would not have that trailing line. So I can clip that trailing line. I can exclude this from the count. And now maybe this is actually how I would route that. And now you can see I've got 1,500 feet of number 12, a bunch of number 10. And now maybe I have a bunch of drops. And like I know, like I want an extra 3 feet of drop between all of these. Oh, I can grab all of them. Actually, there's a few ways I can do this. I could right click, hit include all points, and let's just add maybe 5 feet, 2.5 feet up, 2.5 feet back down of wire. And now I've added a 5 foot drop to every single point. And so now I also have my verticals, right? And you can see where that added. Right, so you can do this with anything. You can count receptacles. You could do this with ductwork. Yeah, so that's how assemblies work. We have all of these items counted. Great. Um, Now we're building an estimate, right? We need this to be priced. So what do we do next? So once you have your entire takeoff quantified, you've counted everything, and by the end of that, if you've done estimating, then once by the time you're done counting, you know a lot about this job. You know what a lot of the challenges are going to be. Um, that's why it's really good to do the take. You obviously have to do the takeoff step first, but this is when you really learn about the project. It's during the takeoff, reading the notes as you go from page to page and working your way through it, right? So, so yeah. So we need to finish this up. We need to wrap this up. Let's get a price. So if we go to our closeout now, you can see that. Let me hit refresh to make sure. Okay, so I don't have any cost to any of these associated, so I need to add those costs. And so let's go ahead and do that. So here I'll hit edit. We'll go ahead and we'll add our production rates, and I'll just say, so actually this is per thousand. So if 200 and let's see. math in my head. Yeah, that's going to be $210, right, for 1,000 feet of that. So I'll hit close, and now I'll hit refresh, and now you can see I have $528 for 2,514 feet of number 12. And this is not a real number, but then we'll say that number 10 is 320. And then let me make this right, 240. We'll hit close, hit refresh. And now you can see we have our total material costs for each of these items added up here at the bottom, $930 and 79 hours of labor. Now we have some options to go through and set direct labor, labor factoring, incidental labor. Um, we could spend a lot of time talking about what all of these things are. Some of them are intuitive, some might not be. Um, but what essentially what we have here is a workflow that allows you to enter all of the values that are above material, direct materials, get your equipment, think about general condition expenses, and get all of your costs in here. So like for direct labor, you always need this. And so I'll go ahead and grab average rate, and I'll make sure that I've distributed 100% of that. Now, maybe I have multiple hourly rates, like I have overtime here. So maybe I want to say we're going to have 75% straight time, and you can see that I'm not fully allocated, so it's giving me a warning, and 25% of overtime. So I can get granular with how I figure my labor here as well. Um, yeah, and then you just set your burden rate, your labor rate, fringe if you have it. And you just would go through each tab and just add it. Now you don't always have to add a value. The labor factoring is something that you don't have to add, but you could. If there's something about this project that makes you feel like we need more time on this than what my extended costs are telling me, you can go ahead and add that. Incidental labor, I just have some test values in here, but this might be drive time. That's a common one. Indirect labor might be like superintendents, equipment is going to be like your scissor lifts. And you can add as many things as you want to any of these. You just go to your closeout settings here. And then for equipment, like here, maybe I need this to be a scissor lift. And then I think, we'll just say that's $750 per month. Maybe I need a backhoe. Maybe it's a mini. And we say that that's going to be $1,750 a month, something like that, right? Um, and now I have these available to where I can add them to my project with default pricing, and then just put in the quantity, put in the duration, maybe 3 months. I'll say one scissor lift for 6 months, something like that, right? So we can go through all of these tabs and just get all your values in here. And then where you end up in the end is total pricing. You have to hit this refresh button kind of a lot as we change things. It's a good idea to hit this button a lot. Don't be shy about this button. And then here we have a spot to add taxes, overhead, profit, all those things. This is all taxes are going to be, they're going to be different for everybody, depending on where you are in the world. Your overhead, that's going to be really specific to your company. And your profit is your tolerance, really, your risk tolerance in a lot of ways. That's what your profit is. Um, what's your growth plan, all these things. So yeah, so total pricing. And then at the very end, you also have a schedule of values, um, which can be used if we have multiple breakouts. A lot of general contractors are asking for multiple breakouts. Maybe you have a job that has 4 different buildings and you need to provide a price for all those different buildings. You're able to count your job in a way that where you have a schedule of values at the end that you can use to write your estimate. So quick and dirty way of this is just press the button and it'll give you a prompt, but you can type this as well. Um, and so now it is searching our closeout and pulling the data that we have associated with our account and then generating a report. So we have our estimate information, demo estimate. We didn't provide a description, so this is empty. And you can see it's giving us some warnings because we didn't provide overhead, profit, or margin. But it's giving us our total cost. Oh, annotation. So this is something I should show you too. So, but anyway, so you can take this report, you can, we can copy it to clipboard, and then once it's copied, you go ahead and paste it in whatever, document editor that you like. Cool. Um, we also have the ability to add notes, right? So I'll just add a super fancy note here that has no relation with the project. Okay, and so actually, if we have notes, we will also include those notes in our report. So I'll just generate a new report. It'll go ahead and you can see once the server's warmed up, it responds a lot faster. Um, and here's just going to regenerate the report for us, but now it should include my annotation. So a super fancy note here that has no relationship with the project. And so this is a really great way as you're doing your estimates, um, just offloading what's in your mind as you're doing it. This is how I use it. What am I thinking right now as I count this thing? Write it down. And then when you generate the report, it can be included in your annotations, and then that knowledge then can get transferred forward to sales, to your production team, Notes, like one of the big things that I find in estimating is that we do a lot of work to study the job simply for producing a number. But what we're doing has so much more value than that if we can get that into a format that it can then be extended out into the field, extended out to other team members so that they can understand the project quickly with the information that you've been able to gather up to this point. We'll get into some deep dive videos of how to build items and assemblies next. That's going to be the main thing that I think most of you guys are going to have a hard time with when you first get the product. But once you get going, it's great. In fact, let me show you real quick. I'm going to show you our working database. All right, so here you can see in our database that we built our items and assemblies that we built for the company I work for. You can see we have all kinds of items, slot drains, we have pumps, I guess we don't have any booster pumps in our assemblies yet, but we do have some pumps, HVACR, we have standard ductwork, round, square ductwork items. We have for items, like I said, we have ductwork is a lot. There's a lot of ductwork. So we have duct and cases, metal duct. We have galvanized stainless double wall, round, square, and here's all the sizes. There's so many different combinations. And we edit the properties. We can look at costs, and then we can have specific costs that work for us. Um, and then you'll have your own that work for you, right? So yeah, there's just so much that you can do here, so much that you can count here. Like MEP trades, I think, are going to benefit quite a bit from this. But really, any construction company could do estimates with this software, building their own items and assemblies, and then just managing the production rates and the material values that directly in your workflow. All right. So look forward to showing you guys more about this, doing more in-depth training videos, and we'll see you on the next one. If you like this channel, if you like this product, if any of this seems interesting to you, please go ahead and hit like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. All right. Thank you. Bye.